Welcome to Walking with Jesus Bible Study. We're going to be in the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 17. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he be weary of thee, and so hate thee. And I'm going to repeat that. Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest ye be weary of thee, and so hate thee. You know, the Lord calls us to be very hospitable to our neighbors and strangers and to welcome guests. And sometimes we must have the grace to accept the hospitality of others. But we also must be very mindful that we do not abuse our neighbor's hospitality or take advantage of his kindness. We should not overstay our welcome. We should not be taking people's kindness for granted or for weakness. There's many people out here that has the good heart that the God gave them and is being very kind and helpful to certain people. And then these people, knowing that they're God-fearing people, is taking well advantage of their kindness and their helpfulness. Saying, oh, they must obey God and they must turn the other cheek. They've got to. I can keep on doing this for as long as I want to because they have to be obedient to God. They have to keep on providing for me. And that's just not so. You're mistaken. See, even Jesus had boundaries. And so you too, children of God, that is out there with these kind hearts, these helpfulness, you've got to learn to say when. For sometimes you are no longer helping them, but you are aiding them and abetting them to be slothful, to be in sin, to be of greed. Yes, we are to turn the other cheek. But we also have to have boundaries. See, Jesus sat up there on those hills amongst 5,000. And everybody stood in line to be healed by him. But even he got up and said, that is enough, and walked away. Now, could you imagine being that next person in line, standing there for 2 days? Then Jesus just got up and just left. Oh, but you're God. You're Jesus. You're the Son of God. You have to heal me. How can you say that you have the love of God in your heart and heal all these people and then not me? First of all, who are we to even speak to God in such a manner or to think such a way? But we do. So who are we as people to think that we can continue to keep taking advantage of God's children who is helping us because God asked us to? You're going to have to answer to that. You will be held accountable for your actions towards God's children and for their kindness and their hospitality. You know, even in the scriptures, Paul was sitting there telling the people of the church that those who have the ability to get up and work should get up and work, that they should not be taken what was offered to the church to hand up to those in need. For you are taking away from those who are seriously in need when you are able to get up and to provide for yourself. Oh, and that is also referring to all these people who call themselves Christians and is sitting here and is just leeching off the government because they're too lazy to get up and to live a life. Because they don't think that they should have to. It's just, oh, this is going to help and provide them. That's not what God asked you to do. God didn't ask you to be a mooch. In fact, he says one of the sins in here is slothness, laziness. In fact, God tells us many times over and over again in this Bible that we should not be lazy. But many people don't even pay attention to that. It is a sin. taking advantage of the hospitality that is given to them. There's many of us who had a disadvantage of having, either your home's taken away or Mother Nature is taking it down, and you have other people that is glad you allowed you to stay there and is taking advantage. You are making these neighbors turn to hate you. You should be doing everything that you can. And of course, people when they see you trying, that hospitality of you staying there for a long time doesn't turn hatred to you, because they can see that you're doing your best. But those who ain't even trying and not even care, it makes that kindness turn to pure hate. And then not only you creating that, but you are causing those people to be in sin and to be into hatred. For God tells us that we're to love and not hate. You are spreading your sinfulness onto the good characters of the God's children. You will have to answer to that. On Judgment Day, God's going to ask you, why did you do that? Why did you grieve them so? You turned their kindness into hate. We will be held accountable for all of our actions and what has happened and the cause that it has on the other people in our lives from what we have done to them. You best believe God is going to show you everything that you've ever said or ever done to that person and how it made them feel and the effects of that pain. For everyone you will be held accountable for. You will have to answer. And some of these excuses and these lies and this bullcrap that you feed these people so that you continue to keep mooching are some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. And if you think that they sound dumb to just normal people, imagine saying those excuses to God. If at any time that you have to make an excuse to somebody, imagine that you're saying that to God. And if you wouldn't dare say that to God, to why would you even give that excuse to somebody else? It'll make you want to not make an excuse, not to give some reasoning, but to get up and to find a way to help yourself and to help them to be grateful and thankful for the hospitality that these people have provided for you, to help you get back together and on your feet. For they are showing you grace. You must then return the same grace and thankfulness back to them. Don't mistake people's kindness for weakness. That would only just backfire. And don't sit there and think that just because they're a child of God and they're being nice, that God isn't going to stand and fight their battles for them, and that you will not have to pay for the evil things that you're doing against His children. Because you may not see it today or tomorrow, but you will see it.